Hi everyone. We have all heard of light, of love, consciousness, and the bright paths that the soul seeks. But on the other side of the spectrum lies something less talked about, a dark, mysterious and hidden place. It's called the dark side. In this video, we explore this unknown part of reality, without fear or judgment. From a metaphysical perspective, we will look at the darkness not as an enemy, but as part of the human spiritual journey. If you are ready to lift another curtain on existence, come join us. The dark side is a part of the spirit world and includes people who have rejected God and His laws for humanity, unity, compassion and unconditional love. Here we use the term dark entities for those who inhabit the dark side. Their opposite, those who respect God and the divine white light, are called light beings. This term refers to their nature. The negative and evil nature of the dark side was not created by God. What He created is a soul that has free will, and some souls have used that free will to turn their backs on their Creator and choose a life free of responsibility to anyone but themselves, and that is their choice, not God's. In hell, there is no horned, clawed being sitting on his throne ruling over the dark side. The dark beings are their own rulers. They are so preoccupied with themselves that they do not believe in a being that is superior to them, and when they are faced with consequences that go against their wishes and need someone to blame, they invoke Satan and other demonic mythical creatures. They are weak and helpless against positive forces, helpless against light and love, and can only influence people if they indulge in negative and dark thoughts. Dark souls exist just like us, in both human and spiritual form. In human form, they are just like us. Remember, if it weren't for their choice, they would be a part of us. They could be a family member, a lover, a neighbor, a work colleague or a friend. In spiritual form, their negative energy can affect everything from mechanical or electrical devices to our mental health without us even realizing it. But whether in human or spiritual form, black entities all share some common characteristics. They have no conscience, no real remorse and no responsibility for their actions. They use the events around them to their advantage and accept no blame. Their first and only reaction to criticism is to justify their actions. They imitate human behavior beautifully, without any humanity in them, and can show great sensitivity, sympathy, love and even piety when it suits them to gain the trust of others. When their plan works, which is often the case, they change their appearance without hesitation. We, because of our sincere feelings and loyalty, cannot even imagine that we have witnessed a show and desperately try to revive the false face because we are sure we have seen him with our own eyes and cannot even imagine that the person never existed. When we examine the dark side, we realize that we light beings are nothing but countless mirrors. When their reflection in our eyes is flattering, we are vulnerable to them, but when we know we have seen a mask and they no longer want to show themselves in the mirror like that, they repeat the show that first pleased us in the hope of success. Dark entities live by their own rules. Rules that change depending on the situation and do not necessarily apply to others, but only to themselves. In their minds, their behavior is always acceptable, but if someone does the same to them, they can become angry or deeply offended. The result is that the light beings around them are always out of balance, which gives the dark entities more power. The aim of these beings is not to transform light beings into dark ones, for they know that this is impossible, but to extinguish their light, for where there is light there is no darkness. They do not try to destroy the body of the light being. They often try to gain trust as easily as possible by creating mental fears, doubts, guilt and despair. People can be connected to them by their negative choices. Each person can either approach the world of light and love through their daily choices or be drawn to darkness and negative energies. Depression and violence are signs of the influence of the dark side energies on people. These energies try to keep people away from positive and constructive paths by creating mental and psychological turmoil. People affected by dark energies can experience intense feelings of anger and hatred, social isolation, hopelessness, unnecessary anxiety, and intense stress that lead to destructive behaviors. These types of negative energies can destroy a person's social and family relationships. Dark entities rarely enjoy being with others. What can be pleasant when there is no light to turn off, no mirror to look into, and no one to control? They are after us, and we will encounter them at least once in our lives. It's not about stupidity, it's about taking seriously the duty of conscience to communicate with someone who is ignored. As for the illusion that we can help a dark entity, it goes against human instinct to turn away from a being that needs us, but rest assured that with these entities everything is different and you are only wasting your time. A dark entity cannot become a light being. We should not appeal to a will that does not exist. We cannot awaken a sense of remorse in someone who has no sense of responsibility for his actions, and we cannot kindle a sincere love in someone who loves even God only in times of need. If there is a dark entity in our lives, as Jesus said, shake off the dust from you. No discussion of dark entities would be complete without clarifying what dark entities are not. Not all murderers and criminals are dark entities. Not everyone who has ever hurt you is dark. Not everyone who is mean is dark. Not everyone you don't like or who doesn't like you is dark. There may be light beings that we don't like or they don't like us. We're not trying to label people or judge them, we're just trying to figure out why we need to be aware of who is in our lives. It's true that we wrote all their names into our life plan before we got here, but we wrote their names to teach us when to avoid others, and that's where the dark side can help us. There is an important difference between dark entities and earthbound spirits. Earthbound spirits are usually confused and have not yet connected with the divine light. They may cling to places they were bound to in physical life. The dark ones, on the other hand, have consciously rejected the light. They are driven by a desire for power, control, and division, and often act with specific agendas to deceive or weaken people. According to Edgar Cayce, the reverse law of attraction states that like attracts like. In a similar vein, those who inhabit low frequencies like hatred, fear, fury, or greed are more attractive to entities of darkness. In actuality, a person is unwittingly welcoming entities of darkness into their life if they create darkness within themselves. The reverse law of attraction can be used to describe this occurrence, where a person is drawn to darkness rather than light. Even descending into darkness can be a part of one's spiritual training according to several metaphysical schools. In order to develop and eventually appreciate the return to light, souls may intentionally engage in situations that appear to be dark. In this way, the experience of darkness is not always a fall but rather a necessary step in the soul's development. Despite what many people think, fighting the dark side doesn't require sophisticated equipment or unique rituals. The inner light, prayer, invocation, consistent meditation, and sensitivity to truth and love are where the true power is found. Lighted souls, by remembering their origin, burn away all darkness. On a supernatural and intrapsychic level, the dark side of humanity is an indisputable fact. These forces exist within us as harmful emotions, unhealthy attachments, and limiting beliefs in addition to existing as exterior things. According to metaphysics, dark forces are reflections of our unsettled inner aspects rather than antagonists from the outside. This darkness can only be acknowledged, subdued, and eventually reconciled by embracing light, love, consciousness, and individual accountability. Darkness is always extinguished by light, even if that light is only a tiny spark in a conscious person's heart. In this video, we looked more closely at the dark side of spiritual reality in an attempt to better grasp their hidden face. Remember, though, that just as there is darkness, there is also light within us, and we have the power to choose which direction to look. We would appreciate your valued likes, shares, and comments if this video was helpful to you. In the upcoming videos, come along as we investigate further facets of the uncharted world both indoors and outside. Until we cross paths again, be a beacon in the darkness.